Quiet, please, quiet! You might be wondering why we've stopped. If you are, kudos! It's because my adventure has 2 parts.
Oh, a twist.
I recently found out I possess an undiscovered talent, one that will change the lay of the world as we know it. You might recall that I can make ink now, my nocturnal emissions, as Lucy calls them. We need to have a serious discussion about calling them that. In addition, last week I discovered I can also talk to fish. Did I leave you all speechless? Oh my goodness, I've never done that before. This is so exciting. Chauncey, forgive me, but for a moment I thought that you said that you could talk to fish. There I was the other day, minding my own business, eating barnacles off the rocks on the sea floor when a fish swam up to me and told me his name. And then he told me that every fish has a name.
Unholy crap!
I can tell you one in demonstration. Allow me. Frank! Hey, Frank! You down there? Come on up, friend. Frank!
The fish's name is Frank?
Fine name. It means free. Or that you're from France.
Is that right? Do you think the fish is from France then?
Frank! Frank! Frank!
Frank?
Maybe he's in another part of the ocean.
Frank!
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 Frank! Frank! Oh, I knew you'd come. Everyone, this is Frank. Uh-huh. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You don't say. Okay. Frank said that you remind him of a seahorse we once knew called Madame Esmeralda. Chauncey, please extend my gratitude to Frank. As far as I can tell, I've never been told I look like a seahorse or like someone called Madame Esmeralda. But I've discovered it tickles my fancy more than expected. Hi, everybody. I'm Joe.
And I'm Mary.
And we're Book Buzz.
And we're here to talk about Somewhere Beyond the Sea by TJ Klune. This is our sequel to The House in the Cerulean Sea, which we absolutely adore. So we were really excited about this.
Yeah, so excited.
So I thought long ago that he was going to write a sequel because after he wrote that book, he talked about Chauncey becoming a bellhop. And he's like, maybe we'll see more of that in the future. And he like teased something. And then he came out with In the Lives of Puppets.
Yeah.
And I thought that was going to be like the sequel, you know? And then he talked about how he kind of like writes books that are like associated with each other,
Yeah.
like a kindness trilogy, but
Yes.
it doesn't follow all the same characters. And I was like, we're not going to get anything more with Chauncey, but then we did.
And then we did.
So I'm so excited. It was really exciting to go back and see our characters again.
This one was the first book that we ever read by him.
Yes.
So it just seems like a lifetime ago. So like I was just like totally removed from it. I knew I loved it. I remembered the story, remembered the characters, but I didn't remember like any like details as far as like, is there going to be a sequel or is there not?
Right.
So it was so funny because he announced that he's doing it, and I was just like, ooh, we're getting like a new character named David. He's a Yeti. That was in here.
Yep.
We knew that.
In the first book, it was like they ended with saying like, oh, we're going to go visit this Yeti, David.
So totally forgot that.
So we knew. But
yeah, we knew.
Yeah, so since it wasn't fresh in our minds, we both listened to the audiobook before this book came out so we could like wake up all of the characters again, and that was really fun.
That was great.
You enjoyed the audiobook?
Oh, I love the audiobook.
The characters' voices are really cute.
Yeah.
He has great narrators. It's really nice.
He does.
Yeah. So the basic story of House in the Cerulean Sea, if you haven't read that yet, is that we have Linus Baker, who's a social worker, and he goes out to check on orphanage homes of magical creatures. And he's being sent to this island that has some seriously highly classified, confidential creatures, because we've got the son of the Satan, we have a garden gnome, which is like really rare, we have sprites, we have a wyvern, and we have like a blob that's undefined. So
And the changeling Sam, who turns into a dog.
yes, and did I say the wyvern already? Yes.
Yeah.
So he has to go see if everything's on the up and up. And the story's all about him like following policy and procedure and documenting all this stuff while falling in love with these little characters and the island and the home that's there. So that's the story originally. So this one is a continuation of the story where you have a new surveyor that's being sent out to go check on the orphanage because these like upper, what are they called?
Extremely upper management.
Extremely upper management.
They've been dissolved.
They like once, oh, they were dissolved.
They were
and like
dissolved.
other
Isn't that
people
cool?
like took over.
Yeah, the
and
other
they're still
magical
bad people.
people.
And they want like this orphanage to like go down. You know, they've got like something against this orphanage, and so they're sending in another investigator, and you're fighting like a bigger political battle within this magical community with oppression and everything, as this auditor is coming and being nasty to the island and the characters. But most importantly, like, we get a lot of just great character interaction throughout the book. That's a lot of fun. So that's like an overview. Okay.
Now, my question to you, were you surprised that Arthur was the narrator for this one?
I was a little bit at first, but then like not, because a lot of TJ's, like if he has a trilogy, the first book is by one voice and the next is
and
like
I totally
another.
didn't think of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I've read a million series by him, and he always changes perspectives, and I wasn't even, I don't know what happened to my brain. I totally was just like so excited for this that I just wasn't even thinking. But yeah, it makes total sense.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, I really hope we get another one in the perspective of somebody else.
I don't think he's made any announcements about if there'll be another one or not, but I do feel like the way this book ended, that we could totally have a third book in the sprite's voice, Zoe.
Yeah,
she's like the main island sprite. She's not one of the kids in the orphanage. She's like oversees the whole island. It's her land, and I feel like she could be the voice for the next one.
So I have a theory / fantasy.
Yeah.
And I would love for this to come true. TJ, are you listening? So, there were so many Verania references in this book.
Yes.
For those of you who don't know, the Verania series is another series by TJ Klune. It's fantasy. It has wizards, unicorns, dragons, whatever.
A lot of excessive humor that's like sexual and hilarious.
Hilarious. So there's so many references in this book to the Verania series. There's a lot of names pop up. Lucy uses the magic words that Sam always uses.
Yes, he
Flora
does.
Borislam.
Yes.
Oh my God, that was awesome. And in House in the Cerulean Sea, Zoe mentions her distant relative Dimitri, who's the king of the fairies.
Right.
So all of this is Verania talk. So I would love a crossover. Wouldn't it make so much? Why doesn't the emo teenager dragon come to this orphanage? He needs a home.
Yes. Oh
like,
my God.
Something.
That would be amazing.
Oh my God, that character in here, the way he talked would be so funny.
That really would be amazing.
I want the worlds to combine.
Yeah. He could do that very easily.
He could do that.
So TJ puts a lot of humor in his books, all of his books. This one had me laughing. It also had me kind of mad at different points as well.
Yeah, you got pissed.
I got so mad at the beginning. There's just some meanness in like politics of their community, and I was like feeling enraged, and I wanted to like fight a fight.
Yes.
And they do fight a fight.
They do.
It's rough, but it's not that bad. Mostly what I felt throughout the book though was like joy, and I enjoyed the humor and the warmth, and the characters. Like the scene we did, the characters are off on an adventure. They do Saturday adventures where they go off into the woods or into the town, and each kid picks the adventure on a different day. So this was Chauncey's adventure, and they're out on a boat, and he's calling to the fish because he's learned how to speak to them. And then they get stranded. And in the last book, they really didn't let the kids solve their own problems. Like Arthur would help them navigate life and whatnot. But now they're all going through puberty. They're growing up, and he's kind of like, all right, how would you guys solve this problem? We're stranded. What do you want to do? The kids get together. They whisper. The grown-ups don't know what's going on, and they decide that the best way to get home is a tidal wave. And it's going to just like roll this boat home, and it is hilarious.
Yes.
Love it.
Yes.
There's so many fun things like that throughout the book that just, they crack you up.
So yeah, lots of funny references. I was cracking up. I love the I Love Lucy reference.
Yes.
When somebody says Lucy, and he says, I know, I got some splaining to do. And then what was the other one? Oh, he said, they referenced 666, the devil's number, in like an interesting, funny way. And it was just hilarious the way they did it. He is so funny. Can we talk about each kid, or not each kid, but just some of the things we noticed, like character development?
Yeah.
Okay, so you had mentioned that Sam, the changeling who changes into a dog, has really grown and matured.
He's a lot more mature. He's older.
Like the spokesman.
Yeah, he's like an older teenager. He feels competent and confident.
Yeah.
Like he's not getting scared any longer and changing into the dog.
He stands up to Marblemore and like...
Yeah, he's grown up.
Makes his feelings known. I was like, okay, character development, look at you.
Yep.
Yeah,
I feel like if we get another book, he's going to be like launching and leaving the home. That's going to be the next thing. And I'm going to be like crying because he's all grown up.
Right. That's so true.
Yeah.
Also, okay, Lucy is like coming into his powers.
And he's like not being rude and hateful anymore.
No.
He has like the ability to say really horrific things, but he's like, I find that I like happiness. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. So he's doing some magic.
Yeah.
So one thing in my twisted mind was like, okay, these are kids, right? How old is he? 7?
Right.
7-year-olds aren't perfect. So like on one time, I just want Lucy to like, I don't
Mess
know,
up really bad.
kill something or do, maybe it's
Burn
kind
something
of
down.
it's kind of G-rated, this book, but like just something bad.
Right. I mean, the tidal
Like
wave
devilish.
approximated that, but
Yeah.
then everything was okay.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So that's what I want to see.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, so Chauncey has his ink and his inking, so
Yes.
he can ink now his nocturnal emissions.
Yes.
So kind of like
And he
a
can talk to
squid or
fish.
something.
And we don't know what Chauncey is. He's a blob. He's a green blob with these little eyeballs, and you don't know anything about what to expect from his species.
Yeah.
But now he's developing these behaviors, and it's like, oh, he's all grown up. He's going through puberty.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nocturnal emissions. Okay. That's TJ. Okay, so one of the moments that I absolutely loved in this book, a beautiful moment between Fee and Arthur.
Fee is a sprite, a child sprite.
Yeah, when she asked him to fly with her.
Yes. Oh, that was
Wasn't
so
that nice?
special. Yeah. So Arthur's a phoenix, and he really has kept that hidden. He doesn't let his phoenix fly. He doesn't show the fire. He's always working to keep it controlled because he views it as like a bad part of himself. I feel like he hasn't like embraced it. And so Fee, being a sprite, she can fly, and like the kids now know that he's a phoenix. He's been slowly talking about it, and she's like, "That's my wish. I wish I could fly with you." And oh my God, it was just so special.
So nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And he keeps referencing like that they're his children, like
Yes.
my daughter, my
He's trying
son.
to adopt them.
And it's like it's just a
Yeah,
beautiful thing.
in that moment, you're like, this is a beautiful daddy-daughter moment. It's
Yeah.
so special.
And like you really
Yeah.
see their relationship becoming so much closer. I'm like,
Yeah.
is he like closer to her than any of the kids? But we don't have to say that.
That was just a special parent moment.
Okay, so I guess it's because his species, but I feel the least connected to Theodore.
Yeah, because he can't speak.
He doesn't speak
He
English.
like clicks and whatever.
He speaks
and
wyvern.
people interpret for him.
So I guess it's just like having like a family pet.
Yeah, it does.
You
feel
know,
that
it's like
way.
he's a dog.
Yeah, but he's
not.
supposed to be more human because he has thoughts and feelings and all that.
I
good
know.
Stuff. I know.
So I'm like, how are we gonna get there?
Yeah.
Because he almost seems like a really like side character at the moment.
I
There's buttons, you know.
Yes, yeah, but I did feel like the kids were working so hard at communicating with him because
Yeah.
David, our new Yeti, was like, how do you understand him? And they gave him like a list of interpretive tools and whatnot. So I did feel like you got a little bit more connected than last time.
You did.
And then David, our new Yeti,
David.
he was like the most skittish throughout the book. He was, adapting to the new environment, and he had a lot of growth just from,
Yeah.
not being with them to then being with them and being comfortable with them.
Yeah.
Which was really nice.
Yeah.
Oh, and we buddy read this with Chaz from Bookish Chaz.
Yes.
And all these like reactions that we were having, we were like, okay, what page are you on? We're voice texting and whatnot, so that we could be like, okay, I loved this part. And it was really fun to like, I was doing the ebook, so I would take a screenshot of some paragraphs that I was like, this cracked me up, that we could like process as we were going. It was really fun.
Yeah, he was great to buddy read with. I feel like it was just the right amount of interaction.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was a really good time.
And we all like, it was like the same scenes that would tickle all of us, It was like, yes, I wanted to talk about that one too,
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah. Oh, we forgot to talk about Talia.
Oh yeah, our garden gnome.
Yes.
She's a cutie.
She's like one of my favorites, and I feel like I needed more from her in this book.
Yeah, we got a lot of her in the first book.
Yeah.
Her like sass and like threats to bury them in the garden. If they did anything wrong.
So funny.
She'd like dig a grave for them. Like, this grave is waiting if you don't help me do the weeding.
Yeah. See, I think that's the risk of being such a good author. Like, he just writes these kids so well, and his lines are hysterical that like, I just need more. Like, I just need like a whole
going.
thing of Lucy.
Yes.
A whole thing of Talia. I need a whole thing. It's not enough.
Yes. Something he did that was a little too much though in this book. He put a lot of like political talk into the book.
Yeah.
And I totally respect where it's coming from, because he's an advocate for queer youth. He wants kids to be able to have books that they can identify with when they're reading. And I support that 100%. But then he went off on like these little political tangents, you know, and I was like, when I read, I just want to have fun. I don't want to be thinking about politics and how the world sucks and all of that.
Yeah.
Like, I know it, you know, and I feel it. And I just love all the love and positivity that we get from the rest of the story, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I feel like this book, more than any of his other books that I've read, this is like a social commentary on like the issues we're dealing with in the country at the moment.
And it was like at times, you know, it was thrown in
Yeah.
here and there. It wasn't so much, but it was I've read some that you haven't read by him, and he's done it in other books, and I just kind of get to the point where I'm like, all right, I'm reading it quicker, let me get back to the cute story, you know. So that stuck out to me too.
Yeah, he wants to get his stuff out there.
Yeah, it's important and meaningful to him. I get it.
His vehicle.
Yeah,
like we definitely know that the world is sucking right now, and you know, we just need a distraction. So although we agree with everything he's talking about, like he's kind of reminding us, you know, what's on the news? It's like, oh, I just want to read about Chauncey and Lucy.
The happy parts of all of it.
But it's all good. It's all
feel
good.
the good vibes.
Yeah.
So did you guys read this book? Have you read House on the Cerulean Sea? We hope so, because seriously, like, we love it. It's like our favorite book, our favorite cover, our favorite everything, favorite author. He's amazing.
Yep.
So let us know if you read it.
And if you're enjoying Book Buds, give us a thumbs up.
And share us with your friends.
And subscribe to our channel, Book Buds!
I was up all night reading this book. I loved it.
If you are, kudos. It's because my adventure has 2 parts.
Twist! I'm sorry. Do it again. One line. One word. Like, why are you looking at me? Wait, quiet.
Ready?
Okay, let's both scream Frank a bunch of times. Ready? Frank!
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 Do another one deep like that.
Frank!
Do like
Frank!
a loud one.
Frank!
Do like Frank!
Frank! I can't do it.
That's David. Do it.
Oh, David. Frank!
That's really good. Okay.
We're gonna get the top score.
Then